Hello, I'm Kim Baker, founder of Kim Baker Foods, and this is Feature Fire. This week's episode is the hot Italian, so come with us on a fun and spicy ride as we mix things up and draw inspiration from Mom's famous meatballs. I'm going to start this week's episode with a nice glass of red wine. Maybe a Chianti or a Sangiovese? You decide. It just has to be worthy of the title, The Hot Italian. There's just something so magnetic about Italian culture. It's warm, it's sensual, it's beautiful, it's flavorful. When I was in culinary school, we spent about a month on Italy. And anytime we had to cook anything like a tomato sauce, anyone that was Italian or of Italian descent was not allowed to take the lead at the stove because they were so passionate about garlic and onions, and they just wanted us to follow the course as they had said it. It's that passion that creates such an allure, and it's what we're going to focus on today. Passion needs freedom to exist. The quickest way to extinguish that passionate spirit is to put it in some type of container. It's an authentic expression of self. Tapping into your passion is essentially tapping into your truth. And it's as unique to you as your fingerprints. You try to put me in a box, I get spicy. And that's because passion combines what is meaningful to us with things that we enjoy. And that is a powerful combination. It's like a double stuffed Oreo. You combine meaning with pleasure and you have created a firecracker. What gets you spicy? What ignites you from the inside? You might need to open your mind or let down your guard to find it. That's a big part of what this podcast is all about. I'm constantly trying new things, and I don't know if it's going to work ever. But I love doing it, and I love sharing it with you. It's the pursuit of something regardless of the outcome, because it comes from our heart and not our minds. To live passionately, you have to leave space for that energy. Passion cannot exist in a place of deficit. It needs to be fed. And that's exactly what we're going to do in today's podcast. We're using my mother's meatball recipe today. Her birthday just passed, and my math is a little rusty, but I believe she would have just turned 78. It's been a while, and I miss her. So we're going to use her famous meatball recipe to kind of bring her spirit into the kitchen. I just made these meatballs for my boyfriend and his parents who came over. We had an Italian-themed dinner, and it was a hit. I think you're going to love them. Now, at any time as we prepare this recipe, you are encouraged to dance. This is the hot Italian episode after all. As I was preparing this meal, all I could think about was the expression, shake what your mama gave you. And since this recipe is inspired by Mom, it seemed appropriate to do just that. So the first thing we're going to do is go into the kitchen and prepare a tomato sauce that we're going to cook them in. You're going to heat up some olive oil in a large, preferably shallow pot. So once your oil is hot, we're going to add diced onions, and we're going to let those cook for about 5 or more minutes until they are translucent. And then once those are tender, add a generous amount of chopped garlic and just let that cook for about 30 seconds. We're going to add in a couple cans of whole San Marzano tomatoes. Break up any of those whole tomatoes and let that mixture stew together. I season it with some salt and pepper and just let it simmer. While that's cooking, we're going to prepare our meatballs. Now, I went to the butcher shop and I got really good quality meat. It is a combination of beef, pork, and veal. For this recipe, we're going to use a pound. Feel free to double it. I'm going to take a large bowl and I'm going to put that ground meat mixture in it. I'm going to add in 2 whole eggs, chopped fresh parsley, a lot of salt and pepper, a generous sprinkle of garlic powder, about a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese, and a generous amount of breadcrumbs. Now, my mom's recipe did not combine bread with milk. Hers was different. So trust me on this one. Mix everything in that bowl up really well. And then I want you to take ice cold water and I want you to add it to the meat mixture. But you want this mixture to be kind of wet. Like my mom would explain it as add more water than you think you would want to add. Add it slow so that you're in control and you don't feel like you added too much or too little. Now I want you to take your hands and form round balls with the meat mixture. It should be soft, but still hold its shape. Now gently plop that meatball into the pot. I usually start at the perimeter, and as I add more meatballs, I kind of work my way around the pot so that they're not touching each other. Now, once they've had a chance to cook for about 10 minutes, you can take a spoon and kind of move them around to make sure that if the tops were uncovered, they're now submerged. You kind of rotate them. Now let those meatballs cook for another 10 or 15 minutes until they're cooked through. Now a cook must always taste their food. So grab a meatball, put it on a plate, garnish it with a little bit of parsley and Parmesan cheese if you'd like, and have at it. Bread for dipping is highly encouraged. And wash it down with a swig of that wine. These meatballs were such a hit when I made them for my boyfriend's parents that I gave them some to take home. And you know it's a hit when you go to a dinner party and you leave with a Tupperware. Being able to carry on my mother's recipes is such a powerful way to express the connection that I still feel with her. It's kind of like she and my father joined us at dinner, at spirit at the very least. We drank from their wine glasses, sat at a table that was once theirs, and the light above us was from the house that I grew up in. And we're carrying that on in the most intimate, beautiful way. My mom used to always tell us to just go for it. That was her expression. She loved the idea of us tapping into our passion and doing what made us happy. And I love being able to share that with you today. We live in such a complex world that's full of distractions. That fire can so easily be put out. You have to really fight for that passion to thrive inside of you. So once you find something that you're passionate about, go for it. Let that meaning and enjoyment carry you. And if that means dancing around the kitchen in a sexy red dress, you have our full support.